chronic illness or pain, disability, loneliness, grief over lost loved ones, depression, stress, relationship breakdown, financial woes and poverty, violence and war. These are just a few of the many causes of human suffering. But why do we suffer? Is there a reason for it? The very thought or act of asking why implies that there's a force beyond the natural that governs the affairs of humanity and has the power to either regulate suffering in some way or to give a reason for it. That would of course be God. If there was nothing beyond the physical realm, then suffering would have to be considered a purely natural phenomenon that we just have to accept. There would be no one to appeal to seek a reason why. Nature would be the reason. So if you're suffering, well then tough luck. That's just the way things are. But I would say that the cry for an answer is really a cry for God, an appeal to Him to give us a reason so that we don't have to resign ourselves to nature and just grin and bear it. The dramatic story told in chapter 9 of the Gospel of John about a blind man whose sight Jesus restored offers a hopeful answer to the why question. Verse 1. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. To truly appreciate this man's plight, you have to understand how the disabled were treated in those days. In first century Jewish culture, disabilities or illnesses were often considered divine punishments for sin, either of the affected person or their parents. This attitude contributed to a negative view of the disabled and made life extremely difficult for them. At the time, society simply wasn't set up to accommodate and integrate the disabled as we strive to do now. And besides severe practical challenges, many faced social stigma, ostracism, and financial hardship, often resorting to begging for survival, as the text later reveals this man did. Verse 2. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Well, I can't see how his sins could have been the cause. What sin could he have committed while in his mother's womb? But anyway, at its core, the disciples' question is similar to the one many ask today. Why? What is the cause of this man's suffering? And Jesus gave an answer that transcended this particular man's plight and can be applied to not only him, but also to every suffering person throughout history. Verse 3. Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. Jesus didn't blame a sin or cite a physiological cause particular to this man alone. While sin might be a cause in other cases, the only reason he gave for this man's suffering is that God's work would be revealed through it. He pointed to a positive outcome as being the reason, and that is exactly what happened. Verses 6 and 7. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay, and said unto him, Go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation, sent. He went his way therefore, and washed, and came seeing. The text goes on to tell us that the man went on to boldly testify of his miraculous healing by Jesus to the neighbors and then the religious leaders, who didn't believe him and threw him out. He then met Jesus again and they had the following exchange. Verses 35 to 38. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said unto him, Dost thou believe in the Son of God? He answered and said, Who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Jesus said unto him, Thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. And he said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. Depending on the individual, there might be a variety of whys when we suffer. But this story gives us the ultimate reason, that in some way, the works of God will be revealed through our suffering. This might be deliverance from the cause of suffering, or it might be empowerment to be happy and productive in spite of our suffering. Either way, will be a testimony of God's goodness to those around us, like this man was. More than anything though, the greatest of the works of God is that we will come face to face with the Saviour and believe in Him, as this man did. Are you suffering? Like the blind man, you can experience the miraculous works of God through your distress. Jesus, who Himself suffered immensely on the cross and can sympathize with you, will meet you in your despair and somehow bring good out of your circumstances. Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. See you next time. Bye.